In this chapter, we'll be discussing the topic of table views, and in this lesson I will provide you with a brief general overview of this component. Table views are one of the most essential and widely used iOS components. Most iOS apps use table views in one form or another. They're used to present a scrollable list that is ideal for displaying selection lists or navigating structured data, such as navigating through your mail or through the different settings in the Settings app. Table views are extremely versatile and can be used in lots of different scenarios. They're also very customizable, so you can easily tailor them to match your application's style. Now, the one downside of table views when you're starting out is it's a very complex component. It's a highly composed object made up of several other objects, so it does take a while to learn. But once you become familiar with it, you'll be impressed by what it can do. A table view can be defined in one of two general styles, either plain or grouped. The two examples on the left show the plain style, and the one on the right is a table view using the grouped style. In the plain style, the individual rows stretch edge to edge and have a white background by default. The plain style can additionally display section headers and an optional index for quickly navigating through large lists of data. The group style is partitioned into distinct groups and then provides that pinstripe background that you see in this image. The table views interface is composed primarily of table view cells. These cells are responsible for rendering the individual row content. They also provide the main interaction point with the table view and provide the event handling to enable tapping and swiping on rows. The table view caches and reuses cells very efficiently. You could have a table presenting 1,000 items, but it would be impractical to attempt to create 1,000 cell instances. You would likely exhaust your app's available memory if you tried to create that many cells. Instead, the table view will cache a small pool of them and reuse them over and over as the user scrolls through the list. Table cells provide some default styling and layout. UI Table View Cell Style Default will provide a primary text label and an optional image on the left. UI Table View Cell Style Subtitle is very similar, but additionally provides the subtitle below that main text. And then we have UI Table View Cell Style Value 1 and Value 2. The primary difference is the Value 1 puts the greater emphasis on the first value, whereas Value 2 puts the greater emphasis on the second value. A table view on its own doesn't know how to render its data. Instead, it works in tandem with an object designated as its data source. Specifically, it interacts with an object adopting this UI Table View Data Source protocol. A table view and a data source carry on a conversation like this. The table view will ask the data source, how many rows do you have? The table view will respond with a row count. For each one of those rows, it will ask for a cell for that row. The table view will then configure a cell and return an instance back to the caller. And as it does that, then the contents of the table view can be rendered. The table view also doesn't know what to do when a user taps or swipes on a row. It simply can't because it needs to be generic to handle all of the different scenarios in which it's used. Instead, it works with its delegate. Specifically, it works with an object implementing the UI Table View Delegate protocol. Much like the conversation carried on between the table view and its data source, it carries on a slightly different conversation with its delegate. In the case of a user tapping a row, we'd see something like this. The user just tapped row 3. Delegate, how would you like to respond? So in this case, it simply pops up an alert message. Both the delegate and the data source are where we code up our application-specific logic. You should now have a better understanding of iOS table views. Like I mentioned at the beginning, these are a truly essential component to learn to use. They are complex, but the good news is we'll be using them throughout the remainder of this course, so you'll have several opportunities to put them into action.